Welcome back, y'all. This is Just Math, y'all, and we are today going to look at solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. Okay, so just quickly, these are our steps. Make sure you know there's steps to do. First, we want to make sure our equation is equal to 0, and it needs to be in the form of ax to the second plus bx plus c equals 0. Then we need to determine our a, b, and c. Then we're going to put the a, b, and c into our quadratic formula, and then we're going to have to simplify that. And so to simplify that, we do the radical first, all the way, and then we are going to split our fraction and reduce. And the reason we're going to do that is so that we can do the same thing for every single problem. So here's our first one. We have x squared minus 8x minus 20 equals 0. It says equals 0. It is in the ABC format. It is in that format. So if you'll look, the A, x squared is 1. That's my A. Minus plus bx, so negative 8 is my B. Plus C, so that's my C, equals 0. So A is 1. B is negative 8. And C is negative 20. Okay, now we're going to take these three numbers and put them into our formula. All right, so now the formula does not have an x in it. We are not going to put any x's in there. We're just going to put the numbers that we have into our formula. So we're going to start out with x equals, and the formula says negative b. So it would be negative 8 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that's negative 8 squared, minus 4 times a times c, which is negative 20. And all of this over 2 times a. All right, so we got everything in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to simplify the radical all the way. So we're going to go to the radical, and I'm going to just do the radical. So the radical is going to give me a positive 64 plus 80. Now you got to think that through. I've got a negative times a negative, and that's where I get the 80. So that's the square root of 144. So now if I break this down very quickly, if you remember how to do the getting out of the house, that's 12. They're out, and nothing is left here. So to simplify my radical, I get 12. All right, so we're going to bring that back into my problem. All right, so let's bring that back. So the negative 8 becomes a positive 8, plus or minus the 12 over the 2. Okay, so step 1, make sure it's set equal to 0. Step 2, get my A, B, and C. Step 3, put it into the formula. Step 4, simplify my radical all the way. All right, I did that. What is going on here? Okay, so now we have 8 plus or minus 12. Now it says separate the fraction and then reduce. So this is really 8 over 2 plus or minus 12 over 2. Okay, so I separated. Now I'm going to simplify. That's 4 and that's 6. And so my answers, I get two answers, is 4 plus or minus 6. Well, what is 4 plus or minus 6? Well, 4 plus 6 is 10, and 4 minus 6 is negative 2. And those are my two answers. Let's do another one. Okay, so we've got to set it equal to 0 first. It's got to say equal 0. So I'm going to subtract 3 on both sides. And it's going to say 4x to the second minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. So that means my a is 4, my b is negative 2, and my c is negative 3. Okay, I'm going to put these three numbers into my formula. And so that's going to be x equals negative b. So b is already negative, so there's that double negative. Sometimes you have that, and sometimes you won't. Plus minus is part of our formula. Square root is part of our formula. Right, now we have b squared, so that's negative 2 squared. Now that's automatically going to be a positive 4, so be careful of that. Minus 4 times 4 times negative 3. Okay, so that's going to be a positive as well. All over 2 times 4. Okay, so now we're going to do the radical all the way. We're going to take our radical out, just focus on it, and then we'll bring it back in when we're done focusing on it. All right, so the radical. So I'm going to have positive 4, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. And then this right here is a negative times a negative, so that's a plus. This is going to be plus 48. Plus 48. All right, so that's the square root of 52. All right, I have to simplify this. This will be 2 times 26, which is 2 times 13. All right, the 2's get out, and the 13 stays in. So 13. Too big. Okay, and so now that's all the way. So now I'm going to bring that back in to my problem. Okay, so now let's get back to the problem. I have a negative negative 2, so that's a positive 2, plus minus, now my radical, 2 square roots of 13 over 8. Right? I'm going to separate my fractions, so that's 2 over 8 plus minus 2 square roots of 13 over 8, and I'm going to reduce. This is 1/4, and this is 1/4 with the square root of 13 in the numerator. So that would just be square root of 13 over 4. Now, can I add those? No. Can I subtract them? No. Well, why not? Well, because you've got a radical. You've got a radical. So that is your official answer. You can write it back as one fraction if you want. Some people like to do that. Like that. This is two answers. In case you don't understand why there's two answers, go back and watch those videos on square root. That plus minus means two answers. So we've got 1/4 plus the square root of 13 over 4. And we've got 1/4 minus the square root of 13 over 4. And we cannot simplify either one. That is it. That is my answer for that one. All right. We'll do some more on the next video.